We've been covering all the action here on Capitol Hill as the CEO of TikTok, Shou Chew, has been testifying, getting a grilling in front of lawmakers here. And obviously the session just wrapped up not too long ago. Joining me now is Max Cohen from Punchbowl News. He was inside the testimony, inside the hearing, and he joins us now to get some more color on this. So Max, first of all, obviously it just ended not that long ago. How was the tone when it started versus how it finished?
Sure, at the start, Chair Cathy McMorris Rodgers opened up and said TikTok should be banned. So that was quite a rough start for the company, and it didn't get much better from there, honestly. Throughout the entire 4.5-hour plus hearing, Republicans and Democrats alike bashed TikTok. They bashed its CEO and asked it tough questions about China, about privacy, about U.S. national security. And the CEO, I have to say, did not have answers that satisfied the committee at all.
Because you could definitely tell they were looking for yes or no answers. They were looking for 100% certainty. Anything less than that, you did start to see some of that frustration from lawmakers. I want to ask you about some of the more memorable moments that came up in the hearing. A lot of them actually came from the TikTok videos themselves.
Certainly. One of the most shocking videos we saw was a threat. Someone on TikTok posted a video of a gun shooting and said, essentially, see you at this Energy and Commerce Committee hearing today. That TikTok was posted, according to a Republican lawmaker, more than 40 days before the hearing. It was a direct threat, and it had the chairwoman, the Republican chairwoman, in the caption. That was taken down mid-hearing, and that was a shocking moment for everyone in the room, thinking, was there a threat made on the very attendees in this room, the journalists, the members of the public watching? It was shocking, and CEO Shou Chew had to apologize and said that was taken down mid-hearing.
And the fact that it was up so long ago, it really does speak to the fact that they just aren't seeing the sort of transparency and oversight that they would like to see. I know another moment that stood out for me was in regards to the teen from New York, who, when they were talking about harm to teens, harm to children there. What was it like in the room hearing that story? Yeah,
that was also shocking. The Republican congressman from Florida, Gus Bilirakis, invited the parents to the hearing, and they were just seated a couple of seats away from me, and they were crying. It was a very emotional scene, and Bilirakis said directly to the TikTok CEO, your platform is leading to the death of children. And that was a very stunning moment, really showing the human cost of some of these videos, according to the congressman.
Because we did see that ahead of the hearing, obviously TikTok, and even in Shou Chew's testimony, really painting TikTok as a place for engagement, which it is, and sort of freedom of expression, but then also this other side of it. And the videos, especially for that teen, some of the ones that were coming up in his feed, very, very disturbing, and we did see a lot of lawmakers honing in on that. Were there any other parts of the hearing that drew the strongest reactions?
I think something for me which drew a strong reaction was, Shou Chew consistently said Project Texas, which is a plan to store U.S. data in Texas on Oracle servers. He used that as an example of how they could change, how he could assuage the concerns of these lawmakers. But right from the off, you saw McMorris Rodgers and the top Democrat, Frank Pallone, say this is not good enough. And that set the tone. One of the main rebuttals that Chew had to say, look, we're protecting your data. Democrats and Republicans alike said, this is not going to help us at all. This is actually still harmful. And that kind of set the tone for the very tough reception Shou Chew got.
I mean, do you think Shou Chew didn't do himself any favors in terms of, do people now perhaps look, at least lawmakers, look at this worse than they did going into this?
I think that might be the case. Some of his answers, as you mentioned, they asked for a simple yes or no. He evaded. He seemed like, in the words of one lawmaker, Mark Zuckerberg, comparing another CEO from a big tech company who testified and didn't necessarily make these lawmakers feel any better about the platform. So I think probably some more negative reactions just based on him being evasive. Another moment, he was asked to condemn the Uyghur genocide happening in China, and he simply wouldn't answer yes or no whether he would condemn that. And that rubbed a lot of lawmakers the wrong way.
And of course, we did hear a lot about the connections to ByteDance, what TikTok would do if they were compelled by China. They went through a lot of different Chinese media laws that said, look, this is laying out, saying that we can compel you to do this. How do you think Shou Chew handled that?
Not great. Again, there's one instance when a lawmaker point blank asked him, are you spying on U.S. citizens on the direction of the Chinese Communist Party? And his response was, well, I wouldn't call it spying. And that, again, led to some shocked reactions within the hearing room, even a scoff among the media section. I heard someone just kind of laugh and say, that is not the right way to answer this question if you're the TikTok CEO.
And I do want to ask you, I mean, obviously, these were tense interactions, and we did see Shou Chew get interrupted several times. Do you feel like we heard enough from him? Or perhaps could we have heard more from him had he not been cut off so much?
There was a lot of hostile cutting off, and I think that's par for the course, honestly, for today's Congress. In a polarized atmosphere, people do want to get their talking points off at the detriment of hearing the witness. But I would say even more than anything, it was a bipartisan day. Democrats and Republicans were united in condemning the TikTok platform. So although I think, as you mentioned, cutting off the witness, that's par for the course. What wasn't was how equal the message was, I'd say, from both sides of the aisle.
Certainly something rare to see in these times. I do want to ask you about Representative Obernolte, because he was able to hone in on some of the more technical aspects of the code and the algorithm, being that he's the only, I believe, lawmaker here with a graduate degree in AI. What did he hone in on in some of those technical aspects? And do you think when you do have just sort of one person who can really have that one-on-one conversation, that it does make it difficult to really sort of chart a policy like this?
Yeah, I think we saw Obernolte ask consistently about the source code. How much code did TikTok have and what the algorithm was doing? I think for the other politicians, you'd see them ceding their time to that congressman so he could ask more technical questions. But even he, Obernolte, talking about technical things, not political gotcha questions, even he got frustrated by Shou Chew because he was asking some specific questions about how much code, how many lines there were. And the CEO just was evasive. And that was a consistent thread, as you've mentioned, just not giving straight answers and leaving lawmakers frustrated.
And when people don't know the expanse of the code, it's hard to say what's transparent, what's not, what's being shared. So a lot of frustration there. But as you mentioned earlier when we were talking, at least it ended on a positive note, at least, that people can, when you talked about some of the mood in the room when it ended for lawmakers, at least shaking hands, at least with Chew at the end there. Max, coming from Punchbowl News, thank you so much.